Hey, Josh Zaring here. This video is all about focus stacking, and it's not the usual thing like I usually do for stock photography. It's actually a landscape. So I'm going to show you how to do that using 3 shots. You'll get to see me shooting, and then you'll get to see me actually combining them in Photoshop. Now, because I'm talking to the camera between shots, I didn't rattle them off as quickly as I should for focus stacking. So there's quite a bit of movement with the sun coming up and the clouds moving. So as a result, I show you how to do it the automatic way with Photoshop, and then I take you the manual route, which is how I end up combining the photos for one image. So check this out. Put it on a 10-second timer so there's no shake, especially with this travel tripod. It's a little wobbly, so gotta try to be careful with it. Next time I'll bring a better tripod along. This one's real compact. Wait for it to come up, and what I'm gonna do is this. Get my focus point in live view. Take a photo. That's about right. It doesn't look right on the video camera, but it is right. Then I'm gonna pull it out to about a quarter of the way out. Take another one. I'm going to take it out here, bump it up to the clouds here, take another one. Then what I do in Photoshop is do a focus stack between 3 and 5 images, and it automatically selects the sharpest area of each photo to make one composite photo. So now here in Photoshop you go to File, Scripts, Load Files into Stack, Browse, get your 3 to 5 to 8 photos. I wouldn't suggest 8. Sometimes Photoshop will struggle the more detail you give it. So then you select Attempt to automatically align source images. Even though it was shot on a tripod, I always do this anyway because of focus breathing, and it prevents you from getting a headache over the alignment. So we can see there was some focus breathing here, so it kind of looks like a sort of panorama look. Then you just select all of your layers, go to Edit, Auto Blend Layers, and before I do this, I have a good feeling it's not going to look right because of the amount of time I put between photos. There was a lot of cloud movement, so I'm not really expecting Photoshop to align this, which is why I'm going to show you a second way of doing this that's a little bit more reliable when it comes to landscapes. Okay, now you can see my layers here. This is, right here is my focus where this is in focus the most, where I put my focus marker right here, and then here is the background, the sky, basically my all-important sun here, and this is, whatever. Photoshop just filled in where areas were sharper, but as you can see, it's not aligned real well. So what we have here is we have 2 suns. That's not going to cut it, so I am going to just undo that and blend this all by myself. So this one's actually the 3rd photo. I'm going to start with that. I'm going to leave. This is when I got the sky, most of the sky. So I'm going to just put that on top, and I'm going to put a layer mask on that. This is real simple. Going to get a brush and just paint away this area right here. And I'm not going to be too precise here with this. I don't want to get rid of that sun though. That's the main focus of this. I'm going to bring this in, and this is where my foreground is mostly in focus. So I'm going to go ahead and just leave that there and combine it. Actually, I'm going to fix this right here, and I'm just going to combine that, and I don't think I'm going to keep this photo at all because there was so little to worry about here. So basically, there it is. There's the combination, there's the stack, and I'm just going to get rid of this plastic toy here, give it a little crop, 4:6 crop, And I want that sun in the middle, so I'll just do that now. And there it is. So shooting at f8, I should have gotten pretty close to getting everything in focus, especially at that distance. You can experiment with different focal lengths and different f-stops, different apertures. F8 is one of my favorite places to be. If I overlap, I overlap. As long as when I'm stacking, I'm getting everything in focus. And everything in this photo is in focus, so job there is done. After that, you can pretty much go and process it as usual. Usually you have a little bit more to work with when you stack, just like when you do an HDR image, you have more dynamic range. I actually prefer stacking or exposure blending to HDR because it gives me a more natural look. I get a lot of color, a lot of detail, and none of the fakiness of HDR. I weave in and out of this HDR thing, mess around with it, and then I look at what it would have looked like without doing HDR, and I usually like the non-HDR version better. It's just more natural and more realistic to me. So I'm just going to bump the clarity on this, a little bit of vibrance. I did already sweeten it a little bit in Lightroom, all three of these images, and when you do that, you do have to process them identically, otherwise things really aren't going to line up if you like do different crops and your color is different. If your color is different, the manual method of blending them usually isn't going to work too well because the automatic Photoshop way blends them and blends the tones, so it's one continuous uniform image versus when you do it manually, you got to make sure all your images are uniform to begin with. So that's basically, I might do a few more things to this image, but there you go. You can focus stack just about anything as long as there's not too much movement. Obviously the clouds are moving, the water's moving, so you got to selectively move your focus points, and you know that area, since it's moving, that's going to be, you pick one or two, max two images that are going to cover this area here. So you just got to really be careful. Down here, you can focus stack the whole way along here and have no issues whatsoever. It's where you get into the movement, like the sun coming up, it's obviously always moving, and you got to have your photos really close together to do this with the landscape. During this video, you notice I was doing a lot of talking, so they were pretty far apart, farther apart than I would have liked. But I was also waiting for the sun to come up, so that third photo I knew was going to be focused right here at the sun, and that's the one I was going to use for the sun. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe and tell your friends. Keep creating and keep it awesome.